The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You can never count out Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford to make a big move. Well, guess what? They could make another big move before the deadline, and we're going to tell you who they could and should trade coming up next on Locked On Canucks.
You're a dark man, Trevor. Leave the Canucks alone, okay?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
A happy Friday and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer for Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks because it is your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe or follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you are on YouTube, give the video a like, okay? Helps that algorithm, helps us spread the good vibes and positivity to Canuckland all over the world. Coming up on today's episode, speaking of good vibes and positivity, maybe I'm going to lead with trading a guy. So, that's why Kyle Bowen calls me the darkest guy on the program. But again, with Allvin and Rutherford, you can never discount them making the big move. And I think there's two guys on the Canucks, and in my eyes, one in particular who could be on the move here before the deadline approaches. We'll give you the rationale on that. Also going to apologize to a BC bud, a Surrey native, coming up in the second segment. And finally, we'll preview some of the games this weekend. And as always, take some of your comments here from the live show on YouTube. Before we get to any of that, let me introduce my co-host rocking the AC/DC shirt. He's a BC bud as well. Kyle Bowen, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. And I'm also really mad at you too, okay? For real. Why are we doing this, Trevor? Why the beep? I wish we could swear. That's for the other show, okay? And that's for another day. Anyways, why are we doing this? Why are we talking about trading guys on a team that's already made the most trades in the league? AKA, why are we jeopardizing, risking some of this chemistry, okay? Why are we doing that?
You know why, buddy? Because it's cup or bust, Kyle. You got in my head, baby. It is cup or bust, and it is time to, build this team into the winner that the city deserves now.
Like, I was going to say this. I was going to say this. I think like you may be going onto this dark path, like walking towards this dark path, pretty much doubting what this team has already done, right? Only because you think that there's a player available that can still make his way to Vancouver that raises not only the floor, but the ceiling of the team. And I saw rumors today that the Vancouver Canucks are still very much in the mix for Chris Tanev. So again, unless there's a legit 85, 86, 87 overall player coming to the Vancouver Canucks, I'll say this. I'll be on record. I don't want the Canucks making any more moves. Anyways, Beggsy, take it away. You dark guy.
Unless it is that 85, 86 overall player. And, those players are still out there, right? I think an interesting wrinkle today, Jake Gensel been placed on LTIR by the Pittsburgh Penguins now. He's expected to be back in 4 weeks, which is a little after the deadline. But that LTIR, cap space accrues daily. And the fact that he is on LTIR would save the Canucks or whatever team acquires him a couple of bucks under the salary cap now. Mr. Whale, shout out to Mr. Whale commenting on YouTube, mentioned Philadelphia. Sean Walker's another guy in my mind, right? Like, F that Ristolainen ruler. That's rumor. That's a bit of garbage. But Sean Walker, a really attractive asset out there. And when I'm talking about the Canucks making moves, it's because if they want to make another big move, you have to subtract from the roster. There's no choice but to subtract from the roster if you want to bring in that 85, 86 overall player. And you know what, Mr. Whale, he knows, man. He knows who I'm going to mention next, and it's Ilya Mikheyev, okay? 2 years left in his contract, paying him $4.75 million a season. Hasn't had the best season, obviously, but I would garner there'd still be a lot of interest in this player based on his track record. Look, he was putting up numbers last season before his injury. He put up numbers this season before going through a cold spell. I think there would be teams that they're willing to take a gamble that he's going to return to speed, right? Sometimes it takes a good 12 to 18 months after an ACL surgery to fully come back. And I think a big reason why the Canucks should consider trading Mikheyev, especially if they want to, boost the team and get a Tanev, a Walker, a Gensel in the door,
Whoa.
is because I would say with Mikheyev, you already have a bigger, better player in Dakota Joshua. Dakota Joshua is giving you everything that you wanted from Ilya Mikheyev and more. Dakota Joshua, in my mind, is the best penalty killing forward on this team right now. He's the guy that is, on pace for 20 goals. Obviously not as fast, but brings that physicality that the Canucks kind of lack aside from Dakota Joshua. Throughout a good chunk of the roster. Dakota Joshua is also going to be due a contract very similar to Ilya Mikheyev. So if you want to keep Joshua, Mikheyev might be the guy you got to subtract from the roster. So I think there are a number of reasons why you might want to consider trading Ilya Mikheyev. So I get it because this Canucks team is good. They're the best team in the NHL. Don't want to be nitpicking too much, but I think there's two big reasons that you should consider trading Mikheyev, and it's A, you could get another asset in the door if you could move off Mikheyev's nearly $5 million salary, and B, if you want to resign Joshua, Mikheyev might be the guy that's gonna have to go.
Wow. So how much money do you think Dakota Joshua's gonna get paid? He's not getting paid close to $5 million. He's probably getting like 3.5, right? And you know what? Go ahead. Answer that, you dark guy.
I'll say I don't know if the Canucks will pay it, but I think there's gonna be a team that gives Joshua a contract that makes us all raise our eyebrows and go, "Oh man!" Like right now, second in the league in hits. Great penalty killer, on pace for 20 goals, playing in a bottom six role. I don't know if the Canucks will pay it, but I wouldn't be shocked if this guy makes over $4 million a season on the open market.
Wow.
Something like a 4-year, $4-ish million deal. Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you, especially with the cap going up as well. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if the guy crossed the $4 million mark for sure.
Unreal. So you pretty much want to get rid of Mikheyev so we can ensure the fact that we keep a guy like Dakota Joshua. I'll take it a step further because I don't think Joshua's going to get paid that much compared to Mikheyev's contract, but maybe you get rid of Mikheyev and you're able to keep Joshua and an Ian Cole. Because again, those Mikheyev dollars, if he's not living up to the value, it makes more than a lot of sense to make that type of transaction. That being said, I don't feel comfortable with the Canucks moving off of a player like Mikheyev and his value. I know he's not playing great right now, but the penalty kill looks a little bit better. He's a small part of that change as well. I feel as if, our penalty kill overall has looked a lot better since he's been a bit of a part of it too. And also just the professionalism. Like, this guy's a good player. He's a gamer. He's a baller. He plays through injury. He's probably a guy that's really appreciated in that room. Look what he did last year. The team sucked and he still wanted to play games. He still wanted to be a Vancouver Canuck. It goes back to the whole chemistry thing. And I am just wary of moving even more parts out of that room. And again, like, Mikheyev's a good player, man. He's a really good player. And we talked about this yesterday when Joshua went down. He was the guy that was replacing one of the members on the best third line in the league. And he looked really good. In fact, his line set the tone. The first shift of the game, they did their thing. They got a chance. They got a face-off. They did their thing. And it just goes to show that depth is obviously really important. But when you have players like Ilya Mikheyev towards the bottom of your lineup, being able to be pushed up in moments of need, whether it be through injury or just needing a spark, it's so important. It's so important. You talk about the floor being raised. Yo, Ilya Mikheyev raises that floor. When you trade for Lindholm, when you move Höglander up the lineup, your bottom six looks a lot sexier, a lot better with Ilya Mikheyev there. And bro, you know what? A couple weeks ago, I wasn't worried about the chemistry. I wasn't worried about the chemistry of this team, but that was a couple weeks ago. Now there's 27 games left, 25 games left. Well, what's the number? You know what I'm saying? The time is running out. I don't know if I want the team making a bunch of moves unless it's for the ultimate goal when it comes to player transactions and an easy transition in the form of a guy like Chris Tanev. Then it makes sense. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know, man. Trevor, I'm trusting this team. I appreciate what Mikheyev brings to the lineup when he's given that opportunity on the third line to, again, replace Joshua, and he does his thing. Like, when he does things like that, I appreciate it. Speaking of appreciating things, you want to bring up another Russian. What do you got against Russians, Trevor? Huh? Are you Don Cherry? Come on, man. Nikita Zadorov.
Good Canadian boys.
Get rid of Nikita Zadorov after his performance yesterday. Okay, first of all, he comes off a 2-game suspension. What does he do? He goes right after Lucas Raymond in the game. Bro, this guy's hockey. As hockey as it gets. That's what I like. And also, during a whistle, he does what? He defends Höglander. He goes out of his way to skate to Wallman and defend Höglander. A lot of defending was not happening with this organization over the last couple of years. Nikita Zadorov, he had some swagger. He had some personality. He's going to be fun to watch in the playoffs. I don't feel as if he's the worst defenseman ever. I think like him, Juleson, and Myers can alternate, compete for that last spot, and it's going to bring us some juice in the playoffs. He is a different type of player. I think a lot of teams would love to have Nikita Zadorov, and maybe they can swap him for equal value in terms of what they gave up for him. But if they don't, I'm not comfortable making a trade regarding Nikita Zadorov just to get some keep Zadorov. He's good.
Yeah, I think Zadorov is the least or not as likely to be traded as Mikheyev. But at the end of the day, I think a big reason for trading Zadorov is you're probably not resigning this guy, right? Contract rumors out there that he's kind of looking for something in that, $4.5-5 million range. This guy is arguably the 6th, 7th defenseman on this team, right? I love watching Zadorov play. He is a beast. He's an animal out there, but he's not an irreplaceable player necessarily, right? Like you're not going to replace the physicality and the fun stuff that he brings to the ice. But I'm looking at it this way, and I'll pose this question to you, Kyle, and Canucks fans. If you could move off Zadorov and Mikheyev, that's $8.5 million in cap space you're clearing. Now, what could you do with that?
Wow, Trevor just cuts
Maybe
off.
you go get it's what your priorities are.
Trevor, we're going to kick you out, okay? For real. You're lagging like crazy, and that's what you get for being I'm going to say it, okay? For being an asshole and want to trade all the Vancouver Canucks because you just want to get quote-unquote better. Look, you said what? You said, I don't think Nikita Zadorov is irreplaceable, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I don't know a lot of players in the league right now. Maybe I can name only 3 or 5 or 6 that play like Nikita Zadorov. And I don't mind having a player like that playing 13 to 14 minutes a game in the playoffs. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. Trevor, man. Media member Beggsy, man. Darkest guy on the program, dude. Let us know in the comments below, okay? Who was darker, Trevor Beggs or Kyle Bound? Because this guy just wants everyone getting moved. Man.
Think about it though, right? The cap space could be cleared for Gensel and Sean Walker. I'll put it that way. That's all I'm going to say. Look, I'm not necessarily saying the Canucks should make the moves, but I'm saying it's possible. And I'd be definitely thinking harder about trading Ilya Mikheyev off this team if it means upgrading somewhere else and clearing that cap.
How are they going to get Gensel now if they've already traded a first-round pick? Like, what are they going to do? Trade? Like, is it like Lekaramaki? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not. We traded for Lindholm. I don't think we have enough material / need to go out and get Gensel. Unreal, dude. And Trevor, man, your Wi-Fi, man. Surrey Library Public Wi-Fi. Trevor, you need to call Shaw, according to Mr. Whale. Hey, speaking of the people, man. Let's talk to the people, man. Let's read some of these comments. Okay, look at this. Frosty Ball says Big Z is a boss. Dude, Big Z is a glue guy. Bro, again, it's during the whistle. Wallman is running around going after Pia Suter, Niels Höglander, and Nikita Zadorov. Like, think about it. He's public enemy number 1 in Detroit. And he walks over to Wallman and, does his thing. It's like he ain't scared of anything. And I'm pretty sure you need guys in the playoffs who aren't scared of anything. And this team is new to the playoffs. He makes that bridge towards shifting that mentality and getting ready for those types of games a lot easier to cross. Dude, we already gave up a third. Like, what did we give up for Zadorov again? A 3rd and a 5th round pick in 2030 or something? Unreal, man. Like, we already, come on, man. Unreal, dude. How about this, Richard? Okay, I'm not advocating adding anyone unless it makes the defense better. Again, I'm okay with Chris Tanev coming home. If you got to make things happen, boom, bam, to bring Tanev here, that's definitely going to raise the ceiling. I'm all up for improving the defense and making them more calm. This all being said, and we'll talk about Noah Juleson in a couple of minutes because he's a big part of what I'm about to say. Bro, I know we got, quote unquote, demolished by Boston, 7, 8, 9 days ago? But it really hit me last night on my drive home. The Canucks have played way better defensively. Like, they're transforming themselves not only into a really good penalty killing team. I can't believe I said really good. I should be saying good, which is a huge step, regardless of the fact. But defensively in general, I know it was just Detroit, but I was so impressed. So impressed with how calm and how strong the backhand has looked in recent history.
Yeah, it's been way better for sure. And we will touch on Juleson on the other side. Again, Beggsy trying to trade the whole team here. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Stirring it up here. Let's see if we keep stirring it up on the other side with a little apology to a BC bud. Before we get to that, I got to shout out eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. That's what brings home the winning trophy, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from your ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusive supply, eBay Guarantee Fit, only available to U.S. customers.
Shout out to eBay Motors, man. Okay, we back on this episode of Locked On Canucks, talking only the positive things from now on, okay? Beggsy again, trading everyone on the roster in the last 15 minutes. Apparently, this guy's not impressed. He thinks the Canucks, what's their record? Aren't they like 47, 4-6? That's what it feels like, man. Honestly, and Beggsy wants everyone gone. Bro, I'm mad at you. I want to punch, for Frosty Balls, that's the guy's name. He defended Big Zadorov. I want to punch you in the balls. I want to grab your balls and twist them.
Ooh, Jesus.
You're making me mad because you're talking about my boys who are doing the most, and they continue to win, man. Like, look at the sun. The sun is shining in the Lower Mainland, and your Canucks are legitimately, it's real. Your Canucks are an elite team, and everyone is playing their
Kyle,
part.
again, you're the guy that said cup or bust, man. You want to win a Stanley Cup? Sometimes you got to consider what's going to make the team better.
Dude, again, I just can't put the pieces together and think that, moving off of Mikheyev and blah, 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 and Zadorov, and we're going to bring in these people. I don't know who those pieces are that you're going to replace those guys with. I only see Chris Tanev. That's all I see, man. Okay?
I would say between Zadorov, Chris Tanev, and Sean Walker, I would argue that Sean Walker right now is actually the best defenseman of the three of them at the lowest cap hit.
Unreal. Anyways, JS giving us the super chat. Go Canucks, go. Bro, Trevor, you need to book a massage or something, okay? Because you just stressing me out. How about this, GV? This guy moved out to Ireland from Kamloops because his girlfriend is attending med school. And the Canucks decide to shoot up all the way to the top of the standings. What time are you watching the games in Ireland? What's the time difference there? And then we got Richard here
from BC. Yeah.
8. Oh, yeah, you're from that place too, right? Your family, you got lineage there. And then we had Richard here too. Talk more about this before you and I apologize to Noah Juleson. He talks about the dangers in messing with the team chemistry right before the playoffs. And then Mr. Well responds, what chemistry does Mikheyev have with not only any line? I'll add this to the team. Add this to the question. Okay, what does Mikheyev do to that room and its chemistry? Again, in my opinion, I think he has a lot of respect from those guys because last year when the season didn't matter, he was risking his career to play games with the Vancouver Canucks. That means a lot. That means a lot, not only to me but to the guys in that room.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends who you're bringing in too, right, and who you're replacing. But yeah, again, with a guy like Ilya Mikheyev, like you said, he probably does have a lot of respect in that room. But I also know for a fact that he was, obviously good buddies with Andrei Kuzmenko, who's now been traded away from this team. So you trade Mikheyev, it depends who you're bringing in. Does trading Mikheyev allow you to bring in a Chris Tanev? They have very similar salaries. Then I'd say that's probably a win for the room, right? So I think it does completely depend on the move. I think also the chemistry, the leadership, the attitude has been set by Rick Tocchet in the core as well. So, and unless you're bringing in a bad egg like a Pierre-Luc Dubois type, then I'm not incredibly worried about wrecking the chemistry in the room. Mm-hmm. Again, a lot of American juju in there too. So if you bring on another American, like a Jake Gensel or a Sean Walker. Sorry, Sean Walker's Canadian, but a Jake Gensel. I wouldn't be worried about how that would affect the room.
Anyways, I think Beggsy, he's on one today, okay? Confusing me, but maybe it makes a lot of sense for him to possibly move off of a guy like Nikita Zadorov because of the play of Noah Juulsen, who is arguably playing better than Tyler Myers and Nikita Zadorov. And that's not a knock on those two guys that I just mentioned. Juulsen's just been so clean, so efficient, so smooth with it, and just a valuable, if not the most valuable piece on the penalty kill. Now, Trevor, a couple months ago, again, this is why we're apologizing to Noah Juulsen, because we drove him to Abbotsford. And we even said things that there's no way that this guy is going to find confidence in the NHL playing like this. He needs to be sent down, find his confidence, and then get another crack with the club. But there was Tocchet believing in him. Adam Foote believing in him. Doing the most. And I don't know if this is the truth or not, because this is home of the West Coast bias, okay? I only got so much time on this earth. I'm only watching the Vancouver Canucks, okay? But I don't know if there's a player in the league this season that has improved this much midseason, because a couple months ago, there's a reason why we're shipping Juulsen off to Abbotsford. And it's mainly because he was one of the worst defensemen in hockey. There were fancy stats, right? That data, saying the same things. My eyes were saying the same things. And now they're both saying completely different things. Like, Noah Juulsen is an important part of the immediate future of this club. Do you have any stats to back up what's happening with Juulsen? And man, oh man, is he, again, the most improved player this season in the league?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good chance that he's the most improved player in hockey. I mean, this guy, you're right, did not look NHL caliber at all. I think of that first preseason game, right, where the Canucks lost 10-0 to Calgary, and Juulsen, like everyone that night, was god awful, but arguably Juulsen was one of the worst defenders out there. And he just, every time he was in the NHL lineup in October, November, like, didn't have his confidence, was mishandling the puck, didn't have his reads right. But again, credit to the coaching staff. They stuck with this and helped him out. And look at the numbers here. So since January 1st, Noah Juulsen has the second best expected goals differential among Canucks defensemen, aside from Quinn Hughes, okay?
Holy.
Every other Canucks defenseman, okay? When he's on the ice, the Canucks aren't giving up a lot. They're very rarely getting scored on. They don't create a lot with Juulsen on the ice, but that's not his bread and butter. That's not his game. Like, his expected goals differential is 57.6%. Hughes is 58.7%. But the big difference there is the Canucks score pretty much another goal on the ice per 60, but give up another goal with Hughes on the ice. With Juulsen, they're scoring, 2.4 goals per 60, allowing 1.8. At the end of the day, this guy, again, not much is happening when he's on the ice. And you see it with the eye test, man. Like, he's in position. He's making plays. He's so steady right now. His confidence with the puck's gone up. We talked about that nice pass to Garland for the goal over the weekend. And the other thing is on the penalty kill too, right? We talk about how the team has been better defensively at even strength, right? I don't know if it's a huge coincidence. It's partly coincidence, but it's partly Juulsen just being better. They've been one of the best defensive teams in the NHL since January 1st. And a lot of that's because Juulsen has been a better defensive player for this team. And yeah, again, we go back to Zadorov. Am I trying to trade him off this team? Maybe. No, I do love watching Zadorov play, but Juulsen's emergence makes that a possibility. But yeah, and again, the other thing I want to bring up on the penalty kill as well, Noah Juulsen, since January 1st, he's averaging the second most ice time among all Canucks shorthanded, 2 minutes and 20 seconds per game. Again, this guy has gone from a depth option to a top penalty killing defenseman on the best team in the NHL. It is a crazy transformation for Noah Juulsen. We gotta eat our cake. He really shoved it up our what. And man, oh man, I've never been the same since.
Like, I think the best way to put it is like this, okay? Let's say Noah Juulsen back in the day watched some Locked On Canucks. Fast forward to the now. Trevor Beggs is in the media room, right? Asking Noah Juulsen a question after a playoff game. And Noah Juulsen looks right at Trevor Beggs and says, I'm not answering your questions. I'm not answering your questions unless you apologize to me or buy me dinner or buy me a $50 gift card to Tim Hortons because of all the ish and the bullying we did on Noah Juulsen a couple months ago, which, again, I'm just a fan, bro. I thought it was warranted because he was playing so bad. He looked scary out there. Ian Cole looked scared to play with him. That's just the truth. How about this, Mr. Whale? I guess this guy's the inside. Apparently, Adam Foote loves Juulsen. He says he is a sponge and has a high ceiling. Bro, if Noah Juulsen wasn't a sponge, wasn't a guy who loves to learn, this would not be the case because he was downright bad, definitely low on himself, playing bad games. It's hard. You have a bad day at work. You just do bad in life or not good at your occupation. It's a low morale season, but there he was somehow, some way managing himself to a place of, I don't know, education, looking at the game differently, just trying to get better, trying to get a lot better, and ultimately just trying to stay in the NHL. Speaking of which, Noah Juulsen is important this season. Let's talk about next season. You want to talk about cap hell? Noah Juulsen makes less than $1 million, which means if he continues this, he's going to be a top 6 defenseman for sure out of training camp next season because of that contract. Straight up, it's something else. And one other thing that we haven't mentioned yet during this Noah Juulsen apology story, okay? This dude's from Surrey, and we've been giving so much credit to Arshdeep Bains, right? Oh, this guy's Surrey's prince, Punjabi prince. This guy's going to make Surrey so proud. I know Noah Juulsen on Wikipedia and all that jazz. He claims he's from Abbotsford, maybe because he was actually raised there. But the science is telling me that this guy was born in Surrey. So thanks for making the dream come true and playing for the Vancouver Canucks. And again, just one of the most wonderful stories on this roster.
Yeah, again, we should be giving more love to the Surrey bud. And let's continue to do so, man. Because Noah Juulsen, he's been rock solid for this team. Speaking of rock solid, no, I'm not talking about below the belt when I watch Noah Juulsen play, but I'm talking about let's end off the show on a rock solid note. On the other side, talk a bit about games coming up this weekend on Saturday and Monday. Long weekend, baby. I will also read a couple comments as well.
Say sorry to Noah Juulsen, man. Can you just say, I'm sorry, Noah Juulsen?
Noah Juulsen, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. We doubted you. And you proven us wrong. And we love you for it.
We hated you. Now we love you.
Well, hate's a strong word, man.
Well, dude, because he was playing so bad, man. He plays for my team. Come on. I'm passionate. Anyways, who we shouting out here on Lockdown?
You are passionate, man. You talked about kicking me in the balls earlier.
Grabbing you in the balls.
Anyways.
Grabbing your balls. Grabbing your balls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's cut to a break and shout out Camino Consulting. How would you like to get to know someone better in an hour than you would in a year? Hint, you probably don't want to grab by the balls. Anyways, understanding one another better prevents small misunderstandings from becoming big, ongoing fights. After providing more than 20 years of service to small and mid-sized businesses, helping management groups navigate conflict and onboarding new employees, Camino is offering a digital seminar for families and couples. Did your Valentine's Day gift of tickets to the game not go over as well as you hoped? Well, I hope it did. I hope it went over well, because if you bought those Canucks tickets, they come at a premium nowadays, okay? Anyways, get the couples and family an online seminar for 25% off for the month of February by using discount code LOCKEDON. Again, that is discount code LOCKEDON for 25% off for the rest of the month at CaminoConsulting.ca. Or you can mention Locked On when reaching out for a business seminar and receive the first 5 profiles for free.
Okay, we back on this conversation about your Vancouver Canucks on this sunny Friday in the Lower Mainland. Man, oh man, it is a beautiful time to be anything Vancouver related, and it's an even better time to be anything Vancouver Canucks related, because this team is actually really, really good. I got Trevor Beggs with me. The weekend is coming up. What are you doing this weekend? How you doing? How's the family? What's new? Fill us in, man.
I'm excited for the weekend, man. It's been a long week at the day job. It's been a long week talking to you, man. Look at us. We need a couple of days off from each other, man. You're talking about messing up my sack. Unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be writing about the Canucks, a couple post-game articles this weekend up on Daily Hive there. Jets on Saturday, Wild on Monday, and of course, all kinds of time with the kids in between, man. Look at my, if you see on YouTube though, look at my son, man. I let him crawl over me. This guy scratched the crap out of my face, man. It's like having a cat. Except way better.
You know what? One love to you, man. The second best father of all time, okay? Anyways, let's get to the comments before we talk about that Jets game and maybe even that Minnesota Wild game coming up. We had someone else, okay? Matt Folger also saying that Adam Foote is the Juulsen whisperer. Look, I'm not going to I'm not going to say I know anything, but another reason why I think it's cup or bust this season is, what are the chances that one of these assistant coaches becomes a head coach if the Canucks, make a long run, continue on to success in the playoffs? Because Adam Foote's a guy with pedigree. I just said it. This team's defense is not lucky good. They're not just even penalty kill good anymore. Like, they're just actually turning into a really efficient and a clean team. He has a lot to do with that. Hall of Famer, a lot of pedigree. Another reason why this season matters so much is because, bro, we have all the pieces in place right now, and it may not be this way in 4 months.
Yeah, I think Foote is the perfect guy to be teaching Juleson too, right? I think Juleson is someone who can really look up to Foote, right, and see similarities in their two games. So, we're really happy to have Adam Foote with this organization. Let's try to get him on the show, man.
Yeah, 100%, man. And then we had Mr. Whale saying South Park style. I think he's referring to my voice, man. Hey, we've been uploading a lot of shorts too. And bro, I've had a couple people that told me, man, that I should stop podcasting because my voice hurts their ears. And to that I say, again, my girlfriend's hot, man. We good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the game on Saturday against the Jets, this is a big one. I know the Jets are struggling. I think they're like 7th in the league now. A couple weeks ago, they were tied for first, blah, blah, blah. It's still going to be a big game. It's going to be Demko versus Connor Hellebuyck. There you go. I said it right there. It's a big game. And I think, again, everyone's going to be watching, right? Everyone in Canada. I also think there's going to be a large part of American hockey fans maybe watching this game too, because you're seeing Hellebuyck and Demko face off against each other. And man, oh man, last time I checked, Demko's had 40 starts this year, and he has 30 wins. Demko is climbing up the ranks, and these best-on-best tournaments are coming within the next couple of years. And I feel as if he's going to outshine Connor tomorrow.
Man, we should actually mention that. I wrote about that for Daily Hive a couple of games ago, but the fastest Canucks goalie to 30 wins was Roberto Luongo. I don't have the year in front of me. I think it was 08-09. He got to 30 wins in 48 games. Thatcher Demko got to 30 wins in 40 games. That's not even close. That's not even the same stratosphere, man.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked about Hughes for the MVP, Demko, Pettersson, Miller, them all having a case. But man, oh man, I don't know if we're talking enough about how good Thatcher Demko has been for this hockey team. That's one of the big things. Obviously, the big storyline this weekend, battle of the goaltenders. Winnipeg's had trouble scoring recently. It's why they're 4-5-1 in the last 10 games. With the two Vezina front runners facing off against each other, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of goals on Saturday either. And that kind of leads into the Monday game as well. Let's talk about it really quickly because, the Monday game is 11 a.m. I don't think we're going to do a show before then. But against the Minnesota Wild, look, the Canucks have played them twice this season. One was a 2-1 shootout loss, and one was a 2-0 shutout, or a 2-1 shootout loss. One was a 2-0 shutout win. So there's been a combined 4 goals scored aside from the shootout in 2 games. So I don't know if that one's going to be a high scoring affair either. The Wild are on a bit of a run right now. I could see them making that last wild card spot. So, hey, maybe that's a first round matchup as well, potentially.
Oh, man. That'd be so boring.
Yeah, not the sexiest matchup, that's for sure.
I don't care, though. It's about winning. And I got to say this, okay? So, again, we're facing the Jets and whatnot and the Wild on Monday and defensive matchups, blah, blah, blah. What we saw from the Lindholm line yesterday with Pettersson and Höglander, I think it gives us an opportunity to explode, right? Because they weren't perfect, but they showed glimpses. And it was kind of hard to be perfect in a game that had a lot of penalties, right? But I'm going to bank on that, providing more than enough offense to get the job done this weekend. And I'm going to keep a really close eye on that Besser and Miller combination with Pius Suter. And I think Suter played well. Like, he's just a really good individual player. That being said, I don't really see that line clicking when it comes to chemistry. And if that continues, this reality is going to settle in, and we're going to look forward to it. And I know it makes no sense right now, but seeing Phil Kessel play with those two guys is going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. They're going to give it a shot. It's going to happen. That's just the truth. I want to say one more thing. Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for all the nice comments about my voice. I know you guys love it. You guys wouldn't be here if you didn't love it, okay? I appreciate it. And we're going to make it to South Park. Vancouver's going to South Park. It's going to happen one day. I want to ask the people this. Is the biggest unsung hero this season, has it been Thatcher Demko? Because when I saw that stat yesterday, it kind of felt like it. Now, I know the team's really good. They're riding the wave. It's a team game, team success. It's easier to be successful when you're on a team like this. But Demko he's so reliable, man. And want to talk about yesterday, 4-1 win. I even go back to that Carolina performance in the third period. Demko is such a big reason this team is able to find its stride consistently, and he's been so good. At times, he's been a little shaky, like anyone, right? Like the Petterssons of the world, like the Millers of the world. But for the most part, Demko has been just so strong and possibly an MVP candidate for this first-place team.
Yeah, I think when you think of unsung heroes, it's someone who's not getting as much recognition as they deserve. And I think for a while, maybe it was the third line, but now they're getting so much attention that it might be Thatcher Demko, you know?
Yeah.
And we talked about another one today, Noah Juleson, man. This team is littered with unsung heroes right now, which is pretty sick. But yeah, the fact that Demko, not only is he having this great season, but it's MVP caliber, by far the fastest goal in Canucks history to get to 30 wins. Again, we might not be talking about Thatcher Demko enough. But you know what? We got to save some more Thatcher Demko talk for another episode because we got to get out of here, okay? So shout out to the everydayers, the occasional listeners, the first-time listeners, the new subscribers, and, of course, all of you who joined us here on the live show on YouTube. We love each and every family and your dogs, too. I'll give a brrr as well as we get out of here because you guys are all the GOATs in our eyes. Again, 2 games this weekend. We will probably have a show after the Minnesota game on Monday. Kyle, if you're around and down for that. And aside from that, coming up next week, maybe I'll talk about trading the rest of the team as well. Whether I talk about that or not, note next week. So for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Cal Bowen, and you'll be listening to Locked On Canucks.
Trevor lagging like crazy right when he says he's going to trade the whole team. I'm not going to be surprised if Trevor trades Elias Pettersson because he hasn't signed a contract by the deadline, okay? Unreal. And look at this comment, okay? We're going to end on this note. It's not rocket science. It's pocket science this year. Holy, how come nobody said that this whole year? You got to work for the show. And you damn right I'm taking my hot girl to Cactus Club. Maybe not tonight, but maybe this weekend. Anyways, have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night. I don't know when you're listening to this. One love to Beggsy. Have a great one. We appreciate it. Go Canucks, go. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On